Hey, welcome to HaHa Horde House with your host, myself, Mark Trinidad. On this week's show, I get to talk to a good friend of mine, Nitish Sakuhja. It took me a while to be able to pronounce Nitish's name. As a matter of fact, we comedians, we're hostile. Anytime we have somebody with a name that we could twist or corrupt, we do it. So in the beginning, Nitish had a lot of people making fun of him for his name. As a matter of fact, our legendary Kenny Robinson, who runs and operates the Nubian show, I think to this day, years later, he still hasn't learned how to pronounce Nitish's name properly. But besides that point, this week I get to talk to Nitish Sakuhja. And on this week's show, as I normally do, I wear a geeky jersey that is inspired because of the particular comedian. And on this week's show, I wore the Terminator hockey jersey because one thing that fascinated me about Nitish is that I've never really seen the kid get depressed. I've never seen him upset. And in this week's show, I talked to him about that because you have to have a pretty strong philosophy to have the ability to bounce back from some of the things that happen in the world of stand-up comedy. But let me not talk about that anymore. You'll hear about that in our conversation. And also, once again, Jay Bird Digital, thank you very much for all the beautiful overlays and artwork that you do for us here at the HaHa Horde House and all the other comedians that you've helped throughout their own journeys in this podcast vlog world. Thank you very much. And without further blah, blah, blahing, let's get into the show.
Yo, guy.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you quite well, sir. I see that you have your medication in your hand.
Ready to go, son.
For those that don't know, Nitish is a person that needs heavy medication at all times.
All time. Well, what am I even doing? Why did I wake up today?
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, who are we talking to?
It's just me and you, right? It's going to be recorded and then put up, right? So,
okay.
All right. That's okay. So I have to explain this whole thing because I haven't really explained it to you, right? I've started off 2 podcasts. Podcast number 1 is called Mark Trinidad, I Don't Know Shit. Mm-hmm. And it's because I'm humble enough to know that I don't know a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that title makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know me, right? So but I readily admit it, right? And there's a lot of people nowadays that don't want to admit that they just don't know stuff. I admit it. I started a podcast to talk to people who are involved in industries, philosophies, jobs that they know stuff, they're experts in it. And I want to talk to them so that I could get a little more education and a little more change of mindset so that I can see things more clearly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's number 1 podcast. Number 2 podcast on which you're participating right now is called HaHa Horde House. HaHa Horde, HORDE. That is the people like myself who love comedy that I started this specifically because I think there's a lot of people out there like me who not only love the art form, but they want to know more about the artists. And talking on a podcast like this gets people to know what you're all about and how you got started and what's your, as I say in the Marvel world, everybody loves an origin story. So I want to talk to comics. How did you get started? Where did you come from? What are your philosophies in terms of what kind of comedy you like? You know what I mean? How did it all begin? Because I'm fascinated because I know my origin story, but my origin story is mine. And I need to know where everybody else came from. There's so many stereotypes about where comedians are born, are birthed. You know what I mean? And I want to try to talk to people to find out more. So here we are, buddy. Welcome.
I like it.
And
thanks for the quick synopsis.
By the way, I wear jerseys from my friends at Geeky Jerseys. and I aligned the jersey with the person that I'm speaking to. So today's show, I'm talking to you, and I specifically picked out my, check it out, Terminator.
Okay. Does that say skunt?
It doesn't say skunt, you skunt.
Skynet. Okay.
Skynet, bro. Skynet.
Yes,
Right?
that's sick. I like it.
Yo, it's a
Are they your
wicked,
sponsors for this podcast?
they're not my sponsor. I'm a big fan of their work, and
Okay.
I wear their stuff all the time. So I told them on every show that I do, I'm going to shout them out because I love their stuff. Right?
Okay.
And I picked out the Terminator. The reason why Terminator and you align is because, as you know, when comedians go on stage and they bomb, they get depressed, right? But in my time of knowing you, and this has been years, I've never really seen you get depressed from a bad show. You know what I mean? You get up like the Terminator and you just march on. The goal is to get better at this. I'm just going out there to get better. Okay, that's part of the process. So you, sir, got the Terminator jersey. How you like that?
I appreciate that. I never knew you looked at me that way. So that's awesome.
I pay attention, of course, because you know I love what we do, but I also look at comics and learn from them. And I also look to see what else can be done in terms of them stepping up to another level. And I wish more comics would have the attitude that you have, because I've never, and I could be all wrong. You could have had sessions in the back alleys and you'd be crying and cussing out a crowd, but I've never seen you do that. Like I've never seen that happen. I
think I'm always semi-depressed, so it never comes off as being depressed. You know what I'm saying? I'm already there.
So you get your strength from depression.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay. You know, and it's never that bad. Like it can. Pre-pandemic, we were doing 25 sets a week.
Yep.
20 sets a week. So one bad set, you know, it doesn't affect you that way. You roll over.
Yeah.
But during this pandemic, man, like I got to do one show in Ottawa before the third lockdown happened. And it was friggin' amazing. It was a sold out show. There was like 60 people there. It went fantastic. And I'm living off that high still. You know, I'm as good as my last show.
You're so stretching it out.
Yeah, exactly. My only show before that was maybe 3 weeks before that. Same thing. It was a live show, but it was not good. It was 10 people who were all friends, and they were just happy to be out together more than there was a comedy show. So they were chatting over. I was happy to do the show, still happy to be there, but it wasn't a good show. And I left feeling like this is my last gig I'm going to ever do. And it went like that.
Yeah.
So it's I'm getting more depressed now, but when you can continuously do them, it's a lot easier, you know?
Yeah, I heard somebody use an analogy of like in sports, because basketball is such a high scoring game, right? And they play a game almost every other night, that if you have a bad night, it's like dust yourself off, you have a next game tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
Whereas in the NFL per se, they play like once a week. And there's only like 16 or 17 games.
You have to win.
There's so much pressure, right? When you're doing shows and you're hitting the stage like 4 or 5 times a night, you kind of bounce back from, that was a bad one. All right, cool. And you move on to the next one. Yeah. I love that philosophy and I love that outlook. But of course, my own journey coming up, I didn't have that. I had to wait a week until the next show. You know what I mean? So
when you came up, you guys weren't doing 20 shows a week?
No, would be the right answer to that question. No, we weren't doing 20 shows. Of course, I've been in. All right, how many years have you been doing stand-up now?
I'm just past a little over 10. I just hit my 10-year mark.
Okay, yeah. And for those that don't know, 10 years in the industry is still considered a young'un. Yeah, a young'un. You're like you're entering puberty now in terms of the comedy careers. I've been doing it for 25 years and I only count in Canada. I don't count my time in Trinidad because they didn't have a format where there's comedy clubs, and
Mhm.
so I don't count it, right? I only counted when I came to Canada. All right.
You were doing a different kind of comedy then. You don't have to get into it.
No, I got into it. I told everybody my origin story. My first show, I did my origin story, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
I have no fear. I'm very fortunate in the way that I came into it, but I saw, you know, the logical steps that took place. First, I was into art, then I was into theater, then I was into sketch, and then that weaning down from, you know, a lot of people, an ensemble, going down to two guys doing shows,
Yeah.
going to me alone on stage, right? I see it. Where was yours? This is what I want to know. Where was your origin story? How did the little baby Nitish, right, suckling on the titty, you know, eventually come to the direction of stand-up comedy? Tell me your origin story, sir.
Okay, so I used to, as a kid, I had a TV in my room, so I used to watch Channel 44 all the time. I loved Just for Laughs gags. To me, at that time, I liked it more than the stand-up, and then the stand-up would come on afterwards. And at that time, I didn't even really know what stand-up comedy was. I just saw these guys talking on a microphone. I was a little kid, and I was like, that guy was funny for like 5 minutes. That was pretty fucking hilarious. And then the next guy would come on. It was Just for Laughs Gala, right?
Right.
And I just thought it was awesome, and it was one of my favorite things to watch. And then me and my friend would always talk about comedy at school, and as a joke, we were like, "Yo, let's go to Yuck Yucks one day and like try comedy." Nothing ever happened from it. We just had those talks. I ended up going to university, University of Waterloo. I was doing a double degree math and business there. I was there for a year and a half, and then I dropped out because too many Asians too good at math.
Competition was stiff, was it?
Competition was stiff. Because I came from Rexdale, bro. I grew up in Rexdale, and they told me I was good at math. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to Waterloo, and I found out I was good at Rexdale math. Very different math than they're teaching everywhere.
You were good for the fish in the pond. As soon as you stepped into the ocean, it was like, I'm drowning here. That's different.
What happened. Exactly. Right. When I got to university, I realized that education is not fair across the board everywhere you go.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some places have better teachers than other places who care more funding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation for another day. But that's where I really felt it. And
did you see that documentary on Netflix? I
did not. What?
The college scandal thing where
no, I didn't see that. No, I've seen it, but I didn't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, watch it when you have time, and it'll just reinforce everything you just told me. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So I dropped out, and my friends during school would always tell me I was hilarious. You should try comedy, and I was like, yeah, maybe one day. But I secretly started writing stuff down at that time, you know. And then I dropped out. I came back home to Toronto. Started working at a call center, CIBC, credit card call center.
Right.
And it was a really good experience because I was the youngest guy there, working with a bunch of people who were doing this as their career. And I would just roast them all day because we were all in cubicles and we're all on phones. I would stand up and just roast everybody I saw and just make fun of them. And people would tell me, yo, you're hilarious. You should try stand-up. And this is like the third time I've heard that now, where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not doing anything with my life. I just dropped out of school. I'm going to go to Yuck Yucks one day. So after work one day, I just went down to the Yuck Yucks to watch. And I was like, this is cool. I saw Mike Rita for the first time. That was one of the first comics I saw. I saw him destroy. And I was like, this guy's good. And then I watched a bunch of comics suck ass. And I was like, I think I can do this. You know?
Yeah, okay, hold on. Stop there. Stop. All right. There's a point that I need you to go back to.
Okay.
Because you've got me to, I'm about to hit a stage, right?
Oh, no.
Wait. But there was a point where you say, I started to write things down. To me, anytime I hear a comedian say, I started to write things down, there was a switch that took place. There was something in there that made you realize, I need to put down these thoughts on paper, because there's a lot of people that have been class clowns, life of the party, but they never, ever write things down. What made you decide, you know what, I need to put this on paper? That's a decision that I need to know. How did that decision come to take place?
Well, it happened when I was working at the bank and everyone was telling me I should do comedy. Before I even went to my first show, I started thinking about, you need material to do comedy, right? And I wasn't even writing jokes yet. What I was writing down in my booklet was any personal story that I thought was funny in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I went back and it's a complete, I don't even write anymore. You know what I'm saying? It was a completely different style of what I was doing. It was a full story with no punchline, so detailed in what was happening, but nothing was funny about it.
Basically, you're putting down the raw format of what,
exactly.
You know, and because us comedians, we'll have that story kind of internalized, but because we know the format of a joke, we would start to say, all right, here's the setup, here's the punchline.
Now I would do it like that, right?
Right, now. But
at that time, I was writing.
You were just raw.
I was writing everything. Too much meat, too much fat. You know?
That's what we do. Yeah, it's all fat. We don't render it down and make a consomme. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then I started going.
Wait, stop. No, you're still.
Okay.
I'm losing something because you're telling me that my decision to start comedy was because a lot of people told me I was funny. Okay, but what in the beginning started? All right, so I'll give you an example. All right, in terms of looking at my life and a few other people that I know, they have similar stories to me, right? In that comedy was a defense mechanism that, looking back, we had, because I was a minority in my country. I was a little fat kid with side path. You know what I mean? I was small for my size. I was getting beat up, right? And then comedy came from the fact that I utilized words to try and get me out of trouble. And sometimes the words were hilarious. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So I recognized it was a defense mechanism. What started you off in terms of being a kid that comedy just started to click in your mind? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I used it as a defense mechanism because I wasn't like a nerdy guy, or I wasn't a really popular guy. I was in the middle. You know, I was cool with everybody. So I never really had problems with anyone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm very introverted. So I wasn't like, when I was making jokes, I wasn't making jokes for the whole class. I was making it for my bubble of friends. Right. You know what I'm saying? I was quietly saying the punchline, and then someone would steal it and say it louder. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was funny to the people I knew, but I didn't even know I was funny. I was just talking shit with my friends. It literally took people to tell me, yo, you're funny. And I was like, I'm funny.
That made you start to think.
Exactly. I'm just being sarcastic. And then I realized sarcasm is a humor.
Right.
You know?
Cynicism as well, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yo, everything. Once you start getting in that mindset, you're like, yo, everything's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can find the humor in everything. So that muscle started to become developed.
It started to flex, you know? And now it's just nonstop. You know? But I started... Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, you said so from there, you started to hear a lot of people parroting the same thing. You're funny. You should think about this. You started to think about it.
So like now I've been hearing I'm funny throughout high school and university, whatever. But now people are starting to tell me you should try stand-up comedy.
Right.
That's where it starts to turn.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, okay, so I buy this book and I start writing all these stories in it. And then I Google Yuck Yuck's amateur night. I see it's Tuesday nights. And I thought it was just show up, go up, you know?
Yeah.
So the first time I ever went, I didn't know. And I was like, I think I'm going to go up tonight. And then I get there. And there was a dude named Angelo who was working there. He used to work the door on Tuesday night. Not the door. He used to work the amateur nights. He would do the bookings and everything. And
Angelo. I don't know Angelo.
Like
back in my day, it was Jack Norman. I don't know. That name is...
I never met Jack. But I think he was just before Fatima.
Okay. Yes. All right. Yes.
He's like a Filipino guy. I always wore a fitted, skinny guy. Anyways, I saw him and he's like, he didn't know who I was. He's like, sorry, man, you got to call this number, do this whole thing. And I was like, okay. So then the next week I called, but I didn't hear my name. But I came anyway. For the next 5 Tuesdays in a row, I came every Tuesday to watch the show. And I would just watch the show, sit, pay my fee, and watch the show. And go afterwards and talk to Angelo. By the 4th show, Angelo's like, yo, you're really just showing up. You just want to do this. You've never done this before. You really want to do it? And he's like, all right, next week, I promise you have a spot. I didn't have to call in. He goes, your book next week.
Yeah, they used to give away 2 spots like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right? So I didn't know about that. I was just super excited. So I had a week notice anyway. So I told all my friends. I literally had 25 people show up to my first show. The whole first 2 rows were all my people. I was so nervous. I went on stage, and dude, it was probably one of the best sets I've ever had in my life. I probably told like 100 jokes, just so like Lenny the Butcher style, fast, no break, just joke, and it went really well. I had a great set. Kathleen McGee was hosting that night.
Okay.
She didn't say it was my first set. She just brought me up. She's like, I've never seen this guy make some noise with Nitish Sakuhja. I came up, did all my jokes. Great set. Came off stage. My heart is thumping.
Yeah, I know the high.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone just told Kathleen, yo, this is his first time ever doing comedy. And when Kathleen comes back on stage, she goes, can you guys believe that was his first time ever doing comedy? And the audience erupted.
Again.
They went even more nuts.
Yeah.
Then I start feeling this high, blah, blah, blah. I had the set of the night for sure on that show.
So you basically started off on cocaine.
Exactly. And bro, after the show, I swear to God, there was a lineup of people waiting to talk to me to be like, yo, that was your first time ever doing comedy. You're going to be amazing. You have a career ahead of you. And that got me fucking going. I'm chasing that dragon to this day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's in golf. They call that the ultimate swing. In surfing, they're like you catch that tunnel, you caught the tube, and then you chase it for the rest of your life.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah, man. And it probably took me a good month or two of consistently doing comedy to experience something like that again.
Yep.
Because it didn't go that way the second time.
No.
You know, it was just a fire on my ass after the first one. But that's what got me going.
And you did the thing that everybody, once you get into the industry, once you get into the art form, everybody tells you, don't bring your friends around in the beginning. Go quietly and do it. You did the opposite.
I did the opposite. And you know what happened?
And they were supportive.
They were supportive. I had a lot of. One of the good things about comedy, there's two types of people. There's cool comics and there's weird comics. The weird comics only have comedy friends. And the cool comics are comics who have friends outside of comedy. You know what I mean? You need to have some sort of life outside of comedy. You can't just be all comedy all the time.
Well, which is what the older comics will tell you, because that's where you get material from.
Absolutely, that's life.
It's the comic mind hanging out in environments where the comics aren't there. So you start to see things and discover and, feel different things. And then you take it to the stage, right? You have to do stuff. If you're only around comics, right, in only comedy clubs, you're not experiencing things that you could bring to the stage. You'll be doing your same set over and over again.
Yeah, right? Man, I got friends that are funnier than me, but they don't do comedy.
Dude, you are not the first comedian to say that.
Exactly. If I was a shitty comic, they wouldn't let me do comedy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's their reputation on the line too, that their boy is doing comedy. If I was shit, they would have stopped me. So that kind of gave me some encouragement too, where they're like, you're actually hilarious.
Well, not all your friends are honest, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we have honest friends, and then we have,
absolutely.
Because there are friends that, they mean the best, but they will never be critical of you.
Exactly.
Sometimes you need somebody who sees you in a better position than you are in. Like they see your potential, right? Yes. In my own history, in my own background, in many different endeavors, I've had people that saw me better than I am. I'll give you an example. I'm pretty happy. Like I'm the happiest on stage, right? I just do what I do. But I've never wanted to go beyond that. I've never wanted to get into movies. Like I love stand-up. That's where my addiction lies.
Because no one offered you $1 million to go be in a movie. That's why.
Well, maybe then I'll pay attention, right? But yes. I had another comic from New York, JP Justice, who came to the Nubian show, which is every month at Yuck Yuck's downtown Toronto. It's the Black comedy show.
You were the guy that got me my first set ever on that. You remember?
I remember that. I had to vouch for you.
Yeah, because you saw me at Fox and the Fiddle. Remember? That's where it happened. Tuesday night.
Is that where I saw you at the Fox?
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, but did that Nubian show?
That's not how I talk.
Yeah, but did that Nubian show?
Well, it's okay. Just like I did for you, somebody else did for me and got me on BET Comic View. right? Because he saw me, he knew that that crowd would like me. He knew that I had the ability to do it. And he's like, let me talk to somebody. And because he saw potential that I didn't see in myself yet, or I didn't have the ambition to do it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
When I saw you, I remember coming up to you. I can't remember saying it like the way you said it because that accent sounds horrible. I remember because
you like comedy, boy? You want to do comedy?
You should be in an environment where people who understand you, who appreciate probably your culture, your background. These are the things that I'm thinking when I saw you, and I was like, you need to see a show that would appreciate you on a much higher level. Yeah. Right. And that's when I, talked to Kenny, and because Kenny Robinson, who is the for the people that don't, the guy that created that show, he had a system in place where he said, if, I have such a stable of comics to draw from, right? That people like myself who were senior had to come to him and say, I saw somebody, I believe they're ready to, and they can step up.
Yeah.
And if they don't, there was a penalty in place that if you put somebody on and they don't do well,
I got hit with that penalty.
No, guy, you made me look good afterwards.
No, I made you look good, but I vouched for somebody and they fucked me up.
Yeah, who did you?
I got Black Zeus. Zeus on his first show. He had a bad set, and then Kenny Robinson said no more vouching for a good whole 2 months. Nobody was allowed to vouch.
It was so funny. Oh my God. But
on your vouch, I made you look good. I remember I came on stage and Kenny was like, "Woo, that kid earned his stripes."
I remember that. There's few things I remember because my memory is bad because of my ADHD, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Okay. But Kenny was very happy with that vouch. In my history, I've vouched for quite a few. I vouched for. There's not many white people or people of lower pigment scale. Is that a cat?
Yeah, my cat. You heard her?
I heard that cat, Joe.
You want to see her?
Wait, show me the cat, man. Oh, look at that fatty. I've got two of those, eh?
Say wagwan, Mark. Wagwan, Mark.
It's a good-looking cat, too.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
Wait, you were, all right, we were supposed to do this at 6 o'clock. We couldn't do it at 6 because you had a puppy that you had to carry to the vet.
Yeah, so I just got a puppy.
What kind of puppy?
I got two cats. I got 2 cats and a puppy. The puppy's a Pomsky.
A what?
A Pomsky, Pomeranian mixed with Siberian Husky.
Okay, somebody was on a stepladder.
I think it was the Husky has to be the mom, but I'm pretty sure they're like incubated.
I'm pretty sure that's how
they're designed.
Works. Yeah,
they're like Louis Vuitton bags. You got to order it.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Who was on designer drugs that they looked at a Pomeranian and a Husky and they're like, we should mix those. You know what I mean?
Started on the internet like 10 years ago. Somebody did one. I think it happened naturally, but now people they do it like they get it. They inseminate the Husky with the Pomeranian semen.
That is wild.
And
to cross those two.
Yeah.
Whatever works, man. That's how evolution takes place, right?
Yeah, man. With needles and injections.
No, not always. I've heard of some grizzly bears and some polar bears getting together and making these Kodiak-looking bears. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, they look like the horses from the westerns that have the half patch red, half patch black.
Okay. Yeah. They're mutts.
They're pothounds. Is what they call them in my country. Dustbin terriers. Yeah, that was one of the terms. What do they call raccoons across here? Garbage pandas.
Garbage pandas.
Yeah. This sounds like the kind of thing we call dogs in my hometown. Anyway.
We also call homeless people that.
That's not nice. How have you been doing during this pandemic, dude?
Surviving, bro. I'm all right. I've been healthy. I'm down 65 pounds over the last year.
I know you've been losing a lot of weight. Everybody else is putting on pounds during the pandemic. You doing all kind of MMA in backyards and kettlebells and
man.
all kinds of stuff.
Just trying to get fit. Never been fit before in my life. So
what caused that? Did you have a health scare or?
No, on my 29th birthday, actually. I just turned 29.
Maybe 29.
Yeah, the corner. I'm only 30 now, but the corner it wasn't a pandemic yet. It was just before the pandemic had started. It was in November, at the end of November. I was talking to I was talking to Jeff, my boy, the guy who was working the door at the corner at the time, and he was just like, "Yeah, you should come work out, man. You should do it." And at the time, I was already thinking about getting into shape, and everyone was telling me, "Yo, do it before you hit 30. After 30, it gets really hard." And I was like, "All right, I got 1 year before it gets really hard, apparently." So
after 30 gets really hard to get in shape.
Your body gets a little.
Okay.
That's what people tell me, you know, especially if you're not in shape, you age faster. So as
I've aged, I can't. Some of those philosophies that I also was aligned with have started to fade for me, because I've seen too much now, and I'm like, it's not always true.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But anyways, I did it. I'm in the best shape of my life. I can do 100 sit-ups. I have the abs I wanted. I feel good.
100 sit-ups. Like all at once. I'm just trying to get 5 pull-ups all at once. If I could get 5 pull-ups, I'm gonna
pull-ups are harder than sit-ups, bro.
Pull-ups are hard, son.
The hardest thing you got to do.
I do at least 1 sit-up every day when I wake up in the morning, right? Because that's the only way I'll get out of bed.
And you cheat. You use your arms to lift yourself too.
but those chin-ups, dude.
Yeah, they're hard, man.
Oh my God. And then I see, because I'm stupid, I follow a bunch of people on Instagram who have the ability to rip them off. And I'm like so jealous. And I want to assassinate them, you know, with a sniper rifle. Because if I get too close, they could beat me up. But just, clack, like, oh, how do you do it, man? It's hard work.
You just go for a run, lose the belly first.
No, not running. I'll do cycling.
You know what you need?
Walking, but I'm not running.
Yeah, walking is fine. You just gotta hit your 10,000 steps a day, dude.
I do much less because I have a treadmill. And I just put it on the highest incline and I walk that. I'll do probably 3,000 steps at the highest incline and I sweat. And I think I've measured my calorie burn. I burn like 1,200 calories just walking. So I'm like, I'm good.
Listen, you're only lying to yourself here. I don't care.
What are you talking about? No, I've lost weight too, punk, right? So whatever. I didn't gain, I lost.
Good.
Maybe I'm losing mine slower than you, but that's okay. I don't need to be at the head of the race. I just need to be in it. And I'm in it, right?
Perfect.
2 snaps and whatever.
As long as you're trying.
I'm trying, dog. I'm trying. And I'm older, so my metabolism is slower.
You just told me that doesn't matter.
I know it. I just wanted to throw that back. I'd see if it worked, but it didn't work. I thought you were higher than you actually are. But you remembered. Good for you. Marijuana doesn't do anything to your memory cells.
No, just it makes me lazy.
I've gotten onto, well, certain people, I'm not going to name them, but certain people have put me on to the benefits of mushrooms. And I've gotten into it, and I've noticed that mushrooms help a lot. I'm not going to say what type of mushrooms, because shut up, fool. I've
done them the last 3 Fridays. This is the only Friday I haven't done it.
How much do you use?
It depends.
Like,
depends who I'm hanging out with.
No. How much milligrams are we talking about here?
It depends how deep I want to go.
How deep you want to go, and how much spare time
you have? About 2 to 3.5 grams.
Huh? Say again?
2 to 3.5 grams.
That's a lot.
A lot is like a quarter, double that.
Really? So that's the I don't know the zonage of
it depends. It varies for everybody. I go deep, bro.
And how much? Because I've noticed there's a time where it fades, right? Mm-hmm. When you get in and when you come out, there's like a zonage, right?
The good thing about mushrooms is like it's only a 4 or 5 hour window, right?
Where and that's That's the zone I've discovered. It's like 4.5 hours, and then you're coming back into regular life.
You can live you can do it in a normal day if you have 5 hours to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you do acid, you have to block off 16 hours.
Allegedly, I know nothing about it. At my advanced age, I'm learning all of this stuff.
You need to block off 16 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
And don't operate any heavy machinery.
That depends on your skill level of acid, but
no.
I'm just saying that that time, those 16 hours, and you don't want to be rushed, right? So give yourself the whole day.
Because
you don't want to be like coming down and then have to go to the bank or something.
You have just become my guru. So let me ask my guru questions.
No problem. Just make sure you touch my feet now every time you see me.
I'm like, what is that Ganesh behind you on the painting?
That is when my parents split up, they got divorced. I took shit from the house. That's a picture of Krishna and his wife.
Krishna. Okay, it's Krishna. And a painting of, what's that? Mighty Mouse in front of it? What is that?
That's me. Someone painted a picture of me smoking a blunt with my cat on my girlfriend's blunt.
That's funny. I thought it was like Mighty Mouse. Anyhow, so that's Hinduism, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Whew. There's too many gods to remember all the stories. So
I don't even know them all.
When I get one right, I'm like, okay, cool. That's Hinduism.
Yes.
I think I remember making a joke about Hinduism, about there having too many gods, and people like me with ADHD, I'll pray to one God, make a mistake, and call a different one. Yeah, it's a long story. Too many gods.
Whatever be the God, he should help you anyway.
Too many gods.
Yeah, too many gods. Yeah.
Okay, back to drugs. All right. So with acid, you have to have 16 hours to kill. Mushrooms, you have to have 5 hours to kill. DMT, you could be in and out in 7 minutes.
Yeah, you just need half an hour.
What?
Just need half an hour.
Half an hour.
Because you need 10, 15 minutes for the experience, 10 minutes to process it after, and then 5 minutes to walk away. Okay.
In your experience with the higher dosages of mushrooms, what do you discover? What do you use that medicine for? Let's start there. Why do you use that medicine?
The first time I did mushrooms, I was with how old? I was like 17. I wasn't even 18 yet. I was hanging out with my cousin who's a year younger than me, so he's 16. We were in Mississauga in the summertime, and we were with 4 of his friends, and they got mushrooms, and he's like, yo, my friends got mushrooms. You want to do mushrooms? I was like, sure. I went to his house. I've never done it before. We all put 7 grams each inside of peanut butter sandwiches. And then we ate it. And then we went wandering into the forest in Mississauga. And I literally had an ego death. That was the path of what is going on in the world. You know what I mean? I started questioning everything early. I was a religious guy before that. I stopped believing in God because I saw all the answers. We laughed, we cried, bro. I was there for like, the more you do, the longer you're in it, right? We were there for like 8 hours. And it was a pretty crazy trip, man.
You know what? Some people utilize it and say they find God. There's some people that utilize it and say they are God, right?
Okay, well, here's the thing. At that point, the first time ever doing it, I said there's no God in the sense that the way I was doing it, the Hindu religion and all that. Now, when I do drugs, I believe there's a higher power. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I want to call it God. I don't know if there's multiple. I know that there's one energy that not controls. It's just the energy. It takes energy to create energy. You know what I mean? And if we're energy, we came from some sort of energy, which must have came from some sort of energy, which came from some sort of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got to trace that energy back to some original source of energy. But where did that energy come from?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's something there, but I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Some people call it Allah. Some people call it God. Some people call it, the thing that makes me horny.
From my reading, and I've read read a lot. I've experienced some. I haven't gone as deep as others, and I haven't been around as long as others as well. But I understand that mushrooms apparently will also assist in helping to melt the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And, you understand that there's a connectivity in some way between all living things and all energy and stuff like that. And it could be possible that it's because of that, somebody gets to be of the mentality where I don't have the ego to say I know everything. So I'll just back down and be humble enough to say I'm experiencing, I'm on this ride, I'm on this journey,
Dude.
I'm on this marble, right?
Philosophy 101. The guy who says he knows everything knows nothing.
Yes.
The guy who says he knows nothing knows a little bit.
I know one thing, I know nothing.
Yes. You know a little bit.
I know one thing, I don't know. Hence the reason I started a podcast called Mark Trinidad. I don't know shit.
No, yeah, dude.
I'm willing to learn.
Mushrooms are great for that. When you said earlier at the show, when the show started, you said I don't get depressed. Because I went through that at 17, man. I went through
because
that
you went deep at an early point in your life.
So deep, where I was like, I need to question everything I'm doing.
I gotta start hanging around with more potheads and mushroom heads. Because there's some philosophy inside there that always happens when you hang out with people that specifically are potheads or mushroom heads. There's always some deep conversations that take place.
Well, the way I look at it, like my take on life is that everything is energy, like we're just talking about. Everything comes down to a source of energy. Your energy, I'm energy, and it's all good energy or bad energy, positive energy, negative energy. You know what I mean? And just like we learned in science, positive, negative, positive equals negative. You know what I mean? Negative will win that war of negative positive. You know what I mean? So you got to remain positive. Positive is what you want. So like, what do you think happens when someone dies?
On a chemical level, they break down into the carbon from which they came.
And it's just a cycle.
Yeah, and then those atoms that it's been broken into go into trees, go into plants, are eaten, are shit out. It just moves around again. Yeah.
And you're just, you might never be Mark Trinidad is Mark Trinidad again, but Mark Trinidad will always be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's why people who are into that sort of thought pattern say things like, the concept of past lives, right? Yeah, your atoms may literally have been, Shakespeare, might literally have been a beggar. It's possible, right? Because the atoms become reused again. It's the people that believe in a soul.
It's all the energy. You know what I mean? It's all depending on how you're leaving the earth, the energy that goes with it. You know what I mean? It's all cycle.
It's the people that believe in a soul where the brain and they think that there's a connection.
The mind and body disconnect.
Yeah, I don't necessarily I would say have enough information that makes me want to solidify my stance and say there is a soul. I just don't know about that yet, so I can't claim it. I have no solid ground to stand on for that particular one.
Me neither. I don't know anything. I believe in science, and Newton's his first law is energy can never be destroyed, it can only be transferred.
And that's where the religious ones on the Christian side come up with the God can never be born, he can never be destroyed, he's always there, always has been. And that's where us heads say, well, that's energy.
Exactly, because it can't
energy
it can't be, it's always there.
Yeah.
You die, but what happens to that energy? It's still there.
And then the Big Bang, we go into the multiverse theory. It's like a Big Bang doesn't mean that there was a start. It means that there could have been a start of something, but there's so many different dimensions, and there's a lot.
I used to think the Big Bang was when God smashed Mary and Jesus was born. That was the Big Bang, wasn't it? That's the biggest bang of all fucking time, bro.
Well, I know a Jamaican guy would want to argue about that particular one because they've been known to make a lot of big bangs as well. Anyhow, I'm gonna cut that out and make that a separate thing, and then I'm gonna get Jamaicans upset with me again. Yeah, Cedric's gonna call me and say, "Yo, guy, they want to kill you, star." Anyway,
that'll be a good promo video.
I'll get in trouble again, man.
Whatever. Rather be in trouble than not talked about at all, bro.
Well, at least they mention my name, guy. At least somebody mentions my name.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? And now you've okay. So let me go back before I go forward. How was your parents? Because a lot of people will say getting into this industry, they might not have had the support of the people around them. Now you had what, 100 people around you in your first show. So that means you had friends that would support you. How did your family look to you when you're getting involved in stand-up comedy?
At first, they thought I was retarded. Like,
mentally deficient.
Yes, you just left a grade A university.
Yes, first year and a half. Yeah,
to tell jokes. They told me I've never been funny before. When were you funny? You know what I mean? You're gonna go be a comedian. So it was tough at first, but maybe like it took a good 5-6 years before they started seeing that it was, going places. And now they're 100%. They're behind it. You know what I mean? I make a living doing comedy. You know what I mean?
Well, not nowadays, but yeah, I get your point.
But you know what I mean? Well, God bless, I have an album out there and I got some shit on Sirius XM, so that shit never stopped. You know what I mean?
And now they can show off, which is always the thing that every comedian talks about. As soon as my parents understood, that I was on Just for Laughs, so I'm in rotation right? Yeah.
When I'm at a family party and other people are coming up to me and telling me they saw something or they, that was cool, and they're standing there like, oh yeah, that's my son. They get all excited then.
All giddy and stuff like
that. Yeah.
When was the point? When was the point that you started to feel that you could boast about it? You know what I mean? Because there's a switch. You want to hide, and then there's a switch. I want to show off.
I had two switches. First, because like I said, when I first started, I used to bring people all the time. You know what I mean? I used to bring as many people as I could. People used to book me on shows because they knew I'd show up with 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
I would get booked on a lot more shows like that too. But what happens then is you burn out those invites. You waste them on early open mics.
Yes.
People stop coming after a while. If you save it right, you put on your own show once a month, you can get 60 people out and make a few $100 if you do it right. But I was wasting it on other people's open mics and $5 shows here. I didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm doing comedy. And then maybe a couple years in is when I stopped inviting people altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started having humbling moments where I'm like, okay, I'm good, but I'm still working on this bit. I don't want people to see it yet. Like regular people could see it, but no one I know. And if they're there, I have to bring up the best shit I have because I want them to go and be like, he was a comedian, not that Nitish sucked that night or whatever.
It's like a carpenter saying, come and see these pine 2x4s, right? And come and see this chair that I made. You wanted people to see, no. See it after the labor has been put in. Don't see it at the beginning. If you see it at the beginning, it's just firewood, right?
Yeah, it still needs to be polished and painted.
Yes. Let me sand it down. You know what I mean? Let me put the dowels in, right? It's not ready to be seen yet. Yeah.
And now I'm at a point where like I have random people who are like fans. You know what I mean? I've built a bit of a following. So they come out to all my shows. They know when I'm performing because they pay attention to my Instagram or whatever. When people ask me, my friends ask me, when's my next show? I'll be like, I'll let you know. And I don't give a fuck. I'll never tell them. If they really want to come out, they'll check my Instagram and see when it is.
It's on my website, yo. If you pay attention, a calendar is there. Yeah.
Because I know you saw it. You know what I mean? Maybe you're just trying to make conversation. I don't know what it is, but I'll let you know. Or it's tonight. You know what I mean? I'll put it's there because it doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for people anymore. I'm doing comedy for me. And thankfully there's people out there that want to see it and they'll come out. So I'm not begging my friends to come see my shows anymore.
In the beginning, you wanted to bring your friends around because you wanted the validation.
Exactly.
But eventually you get to a point where, no, I know that I'm funny. I know that these bits are good. I don't need your validation anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you kind of use your friends for certain things.
Yeah.
But
and now it's like, I hope I do a show. I hate when there's people there because, like, again, I'm an introvert.
I can't
don't
test
want
new
to talk
stuff.
to people. No, it's not even that. I don't even want to talk to people after the show. If I know there's someone in the show and they're like, they want to hang out after the show, and they're like, now I got to wait for the show to end and make small talk. You know what I mean? I don't want to know anybody at any show. I want to do my thing and go.
You've become one of the comedians that are like, I'm so into my own head that I can't have you around. I gotta go. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Not even that. It's just I'm so introverted. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable around the people I know, and I'm not good at small talk. You know what I mean?
I know. When we started off, we talked good.
We still, but we're it's not like that.
But we're
comfortable around you. Exactly, I'm comfortable around you. I can hang out with you. You're not some guy who come and watch my show who I haven't seen in 6 months.
Yeah, okay, I get it. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And no offense to those people. I hope you guys still come out. You know what I mean? But
listen, we can't do what we do if we didn't have people coming out.
Of course.
You know what I mean? A comic needs an audience. Everybody, all comics talk about it. We have the one art form that needs to have people watching it. You know what I mean? Every other art form, they don't need it to practice their stuff. They don't need an audience. We need an audience to practice our stuff.
You know that rule in life that when something is being observed, it acts differently.
Yeah, that's a science thing. Yeah. The act of observation changes the thing.
Everything. Yeah. No matter what it is, when it's being observed, it acts differently. So
I wonder if there's a law. I should learn the name of that law.
It's real. It's 100% real. There is a name for it. And it applies to comedy too, because when we're doing stand-up comedy, we're being watched. So this happened to me where like I hung out with someone after a show, or I was hanging out with someone, and then someone who used to come to the shows regularly at Vape on the Lake when I was doing Vape on the Lake a lot.
Yep.
Hanging out with someone, and this guy showed up. Apparently he was friends with them, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm hanging out with Nitish," and we're just talking, whatever. And then his phone rings, and he goes, "Yo, guess who I'm hanging out with? I'm hanging out with that comic from Vape on the Lake, Nitish." And he goes, "No, he's not that funny in real life. No, he has this continues to have this conversation." I'm standing right there, and I'm like, I guess because I'm not right being watched, right? Yeah, exactly. And it's like I wasn't on. I'm not a guy that's on when I'm not on stage.
Yeah,
you know
that's another thing. Yeah, there's some comics that are on all the time,
constantly,
where they have to be the center of attention. They have to be making a punchline, and then there are the thinkers, where we do what we do on stage. We do our writing in our little dark rooms by ourselves, but in the general public, we kind of live in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People expect you, because there are some people that they've encountered who are constantly on. They expect you to be performing at all times.
Yeah.
Not like that all the time.
Yeah, like you were dropping punchlines the night before. Everything was hilarious, and now you're just saying
Yes, I've encountered people on both sides of that storyline, right? Mm-hmm. The on people and the off people.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, in the beginning, I have this line that this theory that I just came up with. In the beginning, there's 3 types of people in the world. In the beginning, you're like, I need to get shit, right? The consumerism, I need to acquire. This is when you're young. I need to get shit. So your hustle is on to go and get shit. Whatever that shit may be, it's your shit. I need to get that shit. Right.
Yeah.
The second stage of life is when you hit the I need to protect my shit. Mm-hmm. Right? I've acquired shit. This is my shit. I need to make sure nobody takes my shit. Yeah. Right?
You need to maintain this level of shit.
And then the third level that you get into in life is shit don't matter. Right? That's when you start to get into, spending quality time around people that you enjoy, right? reading good books, going to plays, traveling the world. It's no longer about the acquiring of stuff. It's no longer, you'd give away all your shit because you realize that experiences is what makes life worthwhile. It's not the collection. It's not having the nice Benz. It's literally the sitting down having coffee. It's the, partying on the beach, whatever it is, but it's the experiences. And that's why I say that the third stage is shit don't matter. I think I'm in the point of my life where I'm like, shit don't matter. It might be the mushrooms though. It might be the mushrooms.
I agree with everything you said except for the driving part, because one of my favorite things to do is drive nice cars. I get a kick out of it. Literally, just to go on a cruise of a
here's the question.
400 horsepower luxury car.
But here's the question. You're saying that it's the driving of it. It's not the acquiring it. It's not the owning of it. It's not having it in a garage.
It's a bonus to have one.
It's a bonus to have one, but it's not a necessity that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
The goal of acquiring stuff, it's I want to get as good as I can get in the thing that I do so that I could get more money to acquire the things that I want to have experiences with. I get that. Yes. I have no problem. This is why I said the first stage is the acquiring of the stuff. You're much younger than me, right?
Yes.
It's then holding on to the stuff, right? But I still think in your journey in life, there's going to be come a time where you're going to be at the same point where I am, where it's like, you know what? I will drive it. I will drive a Tesla. I have no problem with owning a Tesla. I don't have any problem with it.
I'm a fan of Tesla.
But I'll never put that thing ahead of being able to grab my entire family, you know what I mean? And have a family reunion of everybody in the lineage, right? And sitting down and hearing all these stories of what they've done in their life. And I've had the joy of being able to travel and meet my mother's brother and sisters in Australia, right? And take my mother's brother with me from Canada to go and meet them and, hang out and sitting down on their back porch, watching the bats, the fruit bats on twilight fly up there and look like a flock of seagulls, you know what I mean? Because they're fucking huge. See them fly across while we drinking beers, that to me, those are experiences that I want, you know what I mean? That shit is so, because life is fleeting. We've gone through a pandemic, and people. Let me not be so presumptuous, but do you know any people that passed away as a result of COVID?
No, personally, no.
Not personally, but you have friends that had family members or friends that have.
I guess so. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know of people who've been hospitalized. I know of people that have passed away as a result of it. So life is so fleeting, right? You might have acquired a lot of stuff, but
100%.
They would have given up everything to just take a few more breaths, an extra week to say to everybody, even if you told them, you know what, August 9th, that's your time, you're clocking out, right? You know your birthday, well, that's your dirt day, right? If they knew that, the amount of thing, it wouldn't have been about acquiring stuff. It wouldn't have been about the stuff that they had. It's being able to spend the time with their family before the end came. You know what I mean? It's you get to that point where it's like, shit don't matter, man. Stuff don't matter. It just don't.
Yeah.
No, sorry, man. I'm gonna make people cry with this podcast.
No, it's true, man. Literally, it doesn't at the end of the day.
All right.
You go in what you come out with.
I said I was going to come back forward, right? So your parents weren't supportive in the beginning. This is a story we've heard a lot from comics, right? It just doesn't seem to be an art form that people just align themselves with and say, yes, son, or yes, daughter, you can do it. Nobody starts off like that. But now flash forward, now you're in a relationship and you've solidified that relationship. So please tell me, not how the relationship started. I'm not a freak like that. Okay. That's something to keep for your OnlyFans, right? How supportive is your significant other, sir?
Very, because I met her through comedy.
Ta-da!
It wasn't like my previous relationship where I was with her before I started comedy, and that's a whole new world you bring into it.
Yes.
I was a comedian when I met my fiance, right? So um, she knew what I was doing before. It was a lifestyle that she was already aware of. She's
Yes.
very supportive. Yeah, it's not something I threw at her.
Yeah. Yeah, in my world, it was with my wife. We've been together now, oh God, 28, 27, no, 28 years or something like that.
You better get that number.
No, no, at my age, don't give a fuck, Joe. Don't give a fuck. It's a
Yeah,
number. Who cares? We're still together.
yeah.
Blah,
She does.
right?
Yeah,
But
okay.
she was there for the entire thing, right? Being an ass and then getting into theater. And then so she was there for
Yeah,
the entire journey, right? So, and I'm kind of lucky. Some people were, never had that support in the beginning, but I kind of had it from the beginning. So I never had the storylines that I see other people have had to go through. I never had it. I do
yeah,
enjoy hearing about them though, right?
yeah.
Because some of them are
Comedy,
crash and burn.
dude, comedy will destroy relationships.
Yeah. Especially for the guys or gals that do dark comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes a special
they
someone,
got
first of all,
they
to
got
do it,
something wrong.
but to stick around somebody that does that stuff. You're checking the time. Are you got somewhere to go?
Well, no, I was checking the time though, but I mean, we'll
No,
wrap it up soon. Yeah.
that anytime you have to cut out, you just let me know, guy. We'll cut it. I don't, I want your spare time. I don't want all your time. I just want your
Soon.
spare time.
We can go for another 5 minutes or so.
Okay, well, all right. 5 minutes. Let's wrap it up by trying to figure out. Okay, first of all, where do you see yourself going? Like, how far do you want to take stand-up comedy? Like, do you want to do
Well,
national tours? Like, what's your thought pattern behind it?
I mean, I have like okay. Remember when we were doing Can You Make Them Laugh Tuesday nights? Uh,
Wow.
Jay
Yeah.
Martin, Jay Martin would do
Yeah.
the Rogers taping.
Yeah.
Remember the
Down
Rogers taping?
down in Mississauga.
Yeah,
And
and then
yeah.
after the taping, the camera guy's there, and you do a little interview with Jay. I was maybe a year into comedy, and I got on that taping, and then Jay Martin asked me, "Where do you see yourself in 10 years doing comedy?" And I remember vividly saying, "I'm going to be an international headliner, and I'll be at Caroline's uh, doing comedy headlining. That's where you'll see me." 10 years later, I'm talking to Mark Trinidad during a pandemic. You know what I mean? This is what I'm doing.
But
But
on that journey, I'll be remiss if
I
I didn't bring out the fact that you are going to be doing something for JFL.
for the 420 thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's that
Oh,
I'm
come on,
not.
man.
That's not
That's
really doing
big.
comedy. That's just it's a Sirius XM. It's just me and Mike Rita doing this. We did this over Zoom.
That's still big.
It's
That's
cool, but
that's still
I know exactly.
validation, guy.
No, but but 10 years later, my whole mind shift. I don't think like that anymore. You know what I mean? For me, I'm just happy to be doing comedy, and I hope I can do this for the rest of my life, man. And I don't really care about the accolades that come with it. I just hope that I still stay funny and I can have work. You know what I mean? I can still get booked. I can do it, stay funny, and make money. As long as I can do that, nothing else really matters.
The
You know
art
what I mean?
form has really grabbed you, hasn't it?
Yeah, man, I love this shit.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym. It's something I do. I do nothing all day, and at nighttime I do comedy.
It's the cliche. If you doing something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's that
Exactly,
cliche, but it's so true.
100,
We
100%,
love
man.
what we do.
Yeah, man. And if I can get consistent work and have good shows, I don't really need to do all the major festivals. I don't need to fucking do TV. You know what I mean? That's all bonus, and it would be nice, but uh, consistent. Like I haven't really done many festivals, but bro, I got, you know what I mean? I got people that come to my shows. You know what I mean? I have people that wait for my shit. So I hope that
Dude,
grows and continues.
you're talking like a true artist, and I appreciate it. And I wore the Terminator because I believe that you could die and come back no matter how many times it takes, man. You're like that Terminator that just won't stop until the mission is
Hey,
complete. So I have no
Dave,
doubt in your life, guy.
Dave Merhesh said it best. You're gonna bomb for the rest of your career. It's just about bombing less and doing it with grace.
I like that.
I'll have bad sets now, and people will be like, "He's having a bad set," but I could tell he's a good comedian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To have a bad show, but with confidence.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas like, oh, he's doing bad, but he doesn't give a fuck what we think.
Yeah, it's a certain amount of confidence that when you've had enough
Yeah.
good shows, that when you have a bad show, you just, give off that air of that meant nothing. And
Yeah, exactly.
people kind of attach to that. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
feed your cat. Thank you very much. And I will be putting all your Instagram and stuff like that at the bottom of my little headers and stuff like that so that people can find you.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, send me the promo clip and I'll post it too.
Oh, guaranteed. And I'll try to make sure that I go a little deeper in those investigative journeys that we were talking about.
Let me know where you want to get high as fuck, Mark Trinidad.
Yeah, you're the first guy I'm gonna think of when I want to get a high as fuck.
Yeah, we'll get wavy.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one. Tell the wife hello for me.
Absolutely. Be good,
Cheers,
brother.
man.
Take care.